Trolls update. Hello everyone, DM Dungeon Mastery here. I'm making this video today as just a update for my trolls that I had made in response to some criticisms and feedback from the community. I realized that I did make one of the stat blocks incredibly cumbersome and a little bit too much. To be fair, I did make the stat block at 4 in the morning, so I was a little bit tired when I created it. But in order to clear my name, if you will, I'm going to show you the reworked version of the Loathsome Limbs variant troll, and then I'm going to show you a separate version of that troll without Loathsome Limbs and no random charts. So if you don't like random charts, this other version of that same troll will not have those, and it'll be more straightforward to run without too many changes from the original troll if you just liked the original troll but wanted more. So let's get into the first problem stat block, the Loathsome Limbs troll. And before we jump in really quickly, I understand that I can't please everybody, so just remember that if you don't like something that I made, there's always homebrewing your own version. You could take the version I did and just create your own ideas based off of mine. Dungeons & Dragons is all about homebrewing stuff with other people, sharing your ideas around, taking ideas from other sources, and yeah, just remember those. But I do appreciate criticism and feedback as long as it's not vitriolic. That's my main thing. If you're not, as long as you're not insulting me and telling me this is just stupid, this is pointless, this is dumb, just give me actual feedback. So if you don't like something, tell me why. Most of you did that, so I do appreciate the feedback. But anyways, let's get into it. So let us start off with the offending party here, the Loathsome Limbs troll. There's a disclaimer I'm going to make immediately. If you do not like random charts, there is nothing I can do with a random chart to make you like random charts. So this troll is probably just not for you if you dislike random charts. That being said, I heavily cut down on the rolling on random charts on this troll. I had 2 random charts going off at the same time whenever it lost a limb previously. It doesn't work like that anymore. It just goes off of the one chart when they lose a limb, and then you'll see what I did with the mutative regeneration. So let's look at Loathsome Limbs. I changed the wording on this and made it a lot more clean to look at compared to the original troll video. So when an attack with slashing damage targeting a specific limb exceeds the troll's AC by 5 or more, it loses that limb. So that's if the players are going to target the troll's body parts. And they're going to try to do that anyways. A lot of players like to say that they want to shoot for the eye, or they want to cut the arm off or something like that. This just gives those players something to play around with. That's kind of what this troll was intended to be. So it's that, or when the troll receives a critical hit from slashing damage. So it's either, they exceed the AC by 5 or more, or they get a critical hit. So if they roll an 18 or something and have crits on lower numbers. So you'll see on the chart, the randomness only comes in if they critically hit it with slashing damage. So everything else is just automatic based on if they beat the AC by 5 or more. So I put everything in its own category. So the legs have everything that you need to know about the legs, the arms have everything you need to know about the arms, and then the head has everything you need to know about the head, all right next to it. So no more huge sprawling chart that takes up half the stat block. This just takes up like one chunk, and then that's it. You'll see at the bottom it says the severed parts, and it tells you what they do and how they work rules wise. So they act on the troll's initiative with AC 13, 10 HP, and they regenerate. It also says They die if not reattached by the end of a short rest, and then new limbs regrow in their place. So that's just for outside of combat. If they were fighting a troll and it runs away and they were to go hunt it later on, it would regrow its limbs, and then the crawling limbs would be gone. So that, I think, is much better than what I had previously. Yeah, so thank you for calling me out on that. That was bad of me. I honestly, like, I take criticism very seriously, so I like to improve upon myself. So I'm pretty sure I'm looking at this and I'm saying this now that looks better than what I had before. So the next change, I don't believe nothing changed with regeneration, self-mutilation. I did change how Troll Fever looks. I added a little bit of you could see with the Loathsome Limbs chart also, I added some like visual breaks in the ability, so it's easier on the eyes when you're looking at it. I have the hiccups right now, sorry. So yeah, so you can see the line I put across, so you can tell like this is where the ability ends and then the new one starts. It just looks a little bit more cleaner, so it's not as overwhelming to look at. It breaks up, so when you're quickly looking through the stat block, you can kind of stop your eyes on what you need to see. Looking down here, thrown limb, that action has been updated slightly, so it looks a little bit cleaner to look at. Compared to the original video, it was a little bit messy looking, so I updated that. It looks a little bit better. And we'll get down into the final change here, limb regrafting. That works the same, but I took mutative adaptation and I put it as part of that. So mutative adaptation only triggers if the troll is bloodied now. So bloodied means half hit points or fewer. It's an older D&D edition term, I believe, but I actually like using it in 5e because it's cool to add abilities that happen. So it's simple, it's really quick, it shouldn't slow the game down too much. If the troll uses limb regrafting and they're at half hit points or fewer, you roll a d6. On a 1 to 3, the limb just retaches, no additional effects. On a 4 to 6, the limb reattaches and the troll grows an additional limb of that type. And then I also had a little thing that says an extra leg increases its speed by 5 feet up to a maximum of 60 feet. So every extra leg that the troll attaches, it gets an extra 5 movement speed. So hopefully this has quelled the negativity around this, and I'm not doing this as like I'm like mad or anything. I'm just doing it because I also agreed with everybody that was saying that this was a little messy and it didn't look as good as it should have. I agree with you. That's why I wanted to redo it and kind of, you know, clear the room with this one. So that's the Loathsome Limbs troll. Now if you hate random charts, I have a alternative for you, which is just a more simple rework of just a basic troll, so we'll get into that one next. Okay, so here we are with the more basic version of that troll. So this is like, if you don't like Loathsome Limbs, this is the troll you want. You hate random charts, it slows the game down too much, you want this troll instead. So it's still got that same fortitude as the other Loathsome Limb troll has. It's just nothing, it doesn't lose its body parts as rapidly, or essentially they don't lose their body parts with this one unless the players have an item that would cause that. So you'll see I have, instead of Loathsome Limbs, I have Headless Havoc, which is a trait that states if the troll is decapitated, and as an example I said by a Vorpal sword or similar effect, it loses its bite attack, keen smell trait, and is blinded unless the head can see the body. And it says the troll dies if it cannot regenerate while headless. If the troll dies, so does the head. And then in italics, I have the stats of the head and how it works, just like the crawling limbs work in the other stat block. So for everything else works pretty much the same. The troll still has 2 claw attacks, but I still have it that it has to grapple something in order for it to use the bite. The bite still causes troll fever. And just a little role-playing example for that, you can say when a character has troll fever, they start growing warts on their body and their skin starts to turn this mottled, nasty, sickly green color. So you can kind of add more role-playing into it, so it's not just they're taking poison damage every turn. Trying to help people think outside of the box a little bit. Let me see. We'll look at large rock has been changed, so it is no longer a sharp rock, it is a large rock, so it does 2d10 bludgeoning damage, and I gave it that since I took away its ability to throw its limbs, because you obviously aren't going to be cutting the limbs off on this troll. So it does essentially half the damage of a true giant's rock, so it's 2d10 instead of 4d10 typically. So think that fits, because it does say in their lore they do throw large rocks at targets that are far away, and I always like to have one ranged attack so they could do something. And that will conclude my 2 troll update. I hope that this helps those of you that weren't so happy with my first video. I apologize of the quality of those trolls. So I just wanted to upload this to show that I did change them, and I gave you a secondary stat block if you did not like the original. So this is DM Dungeon Mastery. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the Storm Giant video that's going to be coming up soon once I rework the Storm Giant. So be on the lookout for that, and there might be a different series starting involving magic items, so keep an eye out for that. Also, I will catch you guys in the next one.